A lot of times people ask me, what exactly is the difference between our ordinary gestures that we have in daily life and how they become magnified or stylized for expression in the theater, or if we're trying to do something that communicates to a large audience. And I would say one of the biggest differences is that the quality of the way we inhabit the parts is greater. So, for example, I could be talking to you and I'm not really paying much attention to my hands and what my feet do, and I'm just gesturing and having a good time here. But if I took exactly that and filled it with energy from my hands and taking my leg back and giving you the whole story so that every single part of me is communicating, it's as if there's a flow of power moving from my legs to my hands. And that's a training that we do. We learn things like how to freeze versus just stopping. There's a big difference between those two forms of energy. And then we use that energy if I'm bowing to somebody versus when I'm going, hey, how you doing? Right? It's the same idea. A different quality of energy inhabits us when we actually stylize a gesture. That stylization is what makes that movement come alive, so that when I don't know if you're in a musical comedy singing "Oh What a Beautiful Morning," and if you went, "Oh what a beautiful morning, oh what a beautiful day," great. But if you went, "Oh what a beautiful morning, oh what a beautiful day," I'm bringing that energy through my body in order to communicate it, which means that the actor has to have a relationship to all these parts. Now with comedy, so that's one part of it, but now when you get to comedy or some parts of drama too, you also have to look at timing. Whereas if I was walking down the street, just walking down the street and I saw a dollar bill, I would just go over there and go pick it up, right? That would be me doing a take and then going and getting it. But if I was doing it for the stage, I would be walking down the street and I would let my whole body do the take. Or I would walk down and do a double take or even a triple take, using the whole body to direct the audience's attention to that. Otherwise, it's just a regular thing, right? Oh, I saw the dollar bill. So whatever an actor does in order to take something a little bit further, a little bit greater, whether it's for a period piece where suddenly you have to stand like a courtier in the 18th century, as opposed to just a regular person, you inhabit it moving from the core out through all the parts of yourself in order to communicate through the whole body, not just through your thoughts and your voice. So just to give you an example of a way that an actor trains in order to start to feel that source coming from the center of oneself, which, by the way, also is connected to your breath. There's a lot of different exercises in a field called pantomime that a lot of people don't pay attention to very much anymore, but it involves telling a story with your entire body. And in this exercise, and you could try it if you want to with me, you think about the source of your movement coming from somewhere in the center of yourself. You know, Asians have a term for this. The Chinese call it the dantian. The Japanese called it hara. It's the source of your power, and it comes from there. And in French mime, they used to call it the breath of life. And so if you were just standing there in neutral and you had this impulse, the impulse would come from the center of you, so that the arms fly up and then they open and they come down. And as they're coming down, you use that place in the center of you to bring the arms up. And then you use it to go to the other side. And at the same time, you're connecting this to your spine, creating more mobility in your spine. And you're feeling that breath, that impulse inside of yourself. And then when we want to make the gesture get bigger, we allow it to inhabit the whole self, so that it's coming from the center and pulling out and pulling out. And each time I'm connecting it with my breath, with my center, so that the whole thing becomes a powerful gesture that's not just coming from my hands or my arms, but literally coming from the center of myself out to my audience.